right, welcome to Musicians and Beyond, where we bring you the backstage info on the life, the lyrics, and the long journeys of the music industry. Last week, we had a wonderful guest. We had Lynn Holmes, originally from Sweden, went to visit LA, and she never went home. She's really killing it out there. She's in a couple different bands. She has a solo gig going on, and she's in Harry Katz in the Pistachios, and then you can find her at the All-Star Jam at the Whiskey A Go-Go, which is quite a thing. It's all the very famous musicians will pop in, and they get to play together. So if you didn't check out the last episode, go back and check out Lynn Holmes. And then today, a longtime friend, and I'm honored that he came in here today. His name is Marc Smith, and he is from a band called the Sold Out Show Band, and they are known as one of the greatest party bands around. Marc, my friend, welcome.
John, I appreciate you having me on. It's my pleasure to be here with you. We finally get to talk about it.
Yeah, this is great. We both love talking music, and you like to talk, so this is great. People say I talk too much sometimes. I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. So you've been doing music forever,
since I was 10 years old, and I'm 63, so I've been playing for 53 years.
Wow.
It's quite a long time, but the bug bit me very young, and it just happened to be at the right time. I heard certain pieces of music, and it sparked my interest, as happens with any musician. Something sparks them to do something, and I wound up going on that journey, and I was very lucky. I had a lot of supportive teachers when I was young that kept me moving along. So that's been my career. I've done real work, but my gift is music.
Yeah, you surely are gifted. Was there one specific thing that bit you?
Yes, I heard Chicago and Terry Kath, who is a vastly underrated, criminally underrated guitar player. He's no longer with us. He passed away in 1978. But there was something about his playing and something about his phrasing that just clicked with me. Some guys say it was the Beatles, some guys say it was this, some guys say it was that. That just happened to be what it was for me. And so I actually spent the next 10 years learning the Chicago catalog of all their songs, from their first album all the way up until when he passed away. Getting the sheet music, learning how to read it, doing all of those things. And my playing now is sort of patterned after the way Terry Kath is, which he was a very subtle player, but he also knew that there was a time to step out of that channel and be something else, be aggressive, or be even more beautiful in the phrasing of what he played. So I'm constantly thinking about what serves the song. Like, are we playing an aggressive song? Are we playing something that's fearful? Are we playing something that's happy? And that creeps into my playing in the same way. And with a lot of the other people in the band too. I know they like Chicago. I know a lot of people in my band like Tower of Power. And then we have some younger people in our band that, they like the earlier or the younger stuff. So Taylor Swift's, or we have people in our band who never heard some of our material before they joined our band, but they learned the stuff that we were playing. Their whole world opened up. Like, wow, I didn't know this stuff existed.
Wow. So you're talking multiple people in your band. You got what, 9 people in the band?
9 people in the band.
Who is in the band, and what is their
So the band leader's name is Marc Belanger. He's been my best friend for probably 24 years now.
Super talented guy.
Super talented guy. World-class talent, a saxophone player, singer, dynamic show guy. Then my friend Russ, who was also one of my best friends. He's the drummer. And the 3 of us have been together for 24. We have another guy, his name is Steve Price, trumpet player. He's the showman of the band. He's the one that you will always find him jumping back and forth all over the stage and interacting with everybody on the stage. To his right on stage is Jim Mara. He's a saxophone player, vocalist as well. Steve is a vocalist as well. He's sort of the class clown. He does a lot of voices during our show, and it's meant to add humor to what we're doing. Then behind him is Jimmy Samataro. He's the bass player. He's also a singer. Jimmy has been a friend of the band for probably 15 years, 16 years. He's filled in with us for at times when we've needed a fill-in player. And finally, we got to a point we've been wanting him in the band for a long time. And we finally extended the offer to him, and the time was right. He was able to finally join us. And so one of the nicest guys on the planet. Then behind me is my friend Chris Gardner, and he's just a wizard with keyboards. He can play anything. He can make any sound that you want come out of his keyboards. And I don't know enough about keyboards to say, oh, I could do that, because I know I can't. But sometimes I'm listening to what he's playing, and I have to turn around and say, where did that come from? And he's just got a smile on his face because it's coming from him. We have a new singer that's joined us. Her name is Melissa Ruscio. She's a rock girl. So she likes to do things like Beth Hart and AC/DC, Heart, things of that nature. Got more of an edge to it. And she just joined us. She's doing some lead vocals and backup vocals. And then at the front of our band is Kristen Sinelli, who is our blonde diva. That's the easiest way to put it.
What a voice on her. My God.
She's world-class talent. And she doesn't know it. I can't get over how she hasn't been snatched away from us, because people see her and they just gush about her power. And everywhere we play, whether there's a sound company there that's doing sound for us, or every night, I get to stand behind her and listen to this angel sing, and it's unbelievable. And then on my side, and we're known as a funk dance band. You know, we're having fun. We're interacting with the crowd when we can see the crowd. Sometimes you can't. I'm the rock guy. I am on that side. So I bring the really heavy punching, hitting kind of stuff to that funk thing. And that's what makes the band so unique, is that we can be sitting there and we can be playing a very mellow groove, like Stevie Wonder, Superstition. Perfect example. It's got a nice funk rock beat to it. It's going along. And then in the middle of the song, I play a guitar solo that matches up with a sax solo that just brings everything to it. And everybody's just you can see people getting excited because of what we're playing. And then we just drop them on the ground. And we give that rise and fall to their emotions. And that's the fun of this band. It's just how excited can we get the crowd? How excited can we get each other? And 9 times out of 10, when we're excited, everybody else is excited. They're having a great time. They're yelling, they're screaming. And sometimes some of the songs we do, they're just staring at us like, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Right. And how do you get that many people in a band that are such a high-class musician? And like, how do you pick who's going to be in the band?
There's times that things happen where you just happen to bump into somebody. There's always networking, right? And I know you've interviewed many, many musicians who will tell you it's about who you know and when to answer the phone call. Somebody's going to call up and say, hey, listen, we need somebody for this show. Would you be interested? And they come in and they absolutely slay it. And then all of a sudden, a couple of shows later, you say, hey, you know what? Why don't we call this guy, because he understands what our band is, what we do. Plus, we've been together for 22 years. Mark, Russ, and myself. Mark Belanger and Stephen Price have been together even longer than that. They've been together 30 plus years in bands before Sold Out. And everybody's known each other for a long time. So you get to know who's in the band. You get to know people that are in your musician circle in your area, and you're not afraid to call them and say, hey, let's have some fun. Yeah. Sometimes they'll come up and they'll jam with you. Sometimes you'll go to an open mic and you'll do something. But you're fortunate enough to audition and know when you hear talent and whether or not they're a good hang and they can fit in the band, because there are always going to be some people that won't fit that. They're not the right fit for the band. Nothing against their talent, nothing against their personality. There's some people that take themselves too seriously. We don't take ourselves seriously, and that's part of the fun of our show.
Right. What a well-oiled machine.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is, because when you're playing theater shows, it's not quite as taxing. We don't have to take everything out of the trailer. We're just bringing in personal instruments. But when we're playing someplace, like we just played the Brunswick up in Old Orchard Beach, and we have to bring in almost all of our gear because we've got a full PA system, we've got a full lighting system, everything out there, and we have to move all that stuff. And you have to get it set up in a couple of hours, play your show, and be on your game at your show. And then once you're done your show, you don't get the chance to sit and relax and have a drink or sit there and have some food. You have to break it all down because there's another band coming in right behind you a couple hours later. So it's always, running.
Yeah.
Always.
What's really exciting about your show is you have the musical part of it. Mm-hmm. But behind you, it's like a big production almost. There's always like video and all kinds of stuff behind you.
There is, because one of the things that this band specializes in, because it's an 8-piece band and just grew to 9, is that we want to be sure that you're always looking at somebody on stage. It's not called show band because we all stand around. We want you to be paying attention to somebody. So we'll do movements that will draw attention to somebody on the stage. So if Chris behind me is playing a keyboard solo, I want people to look at him. So I'm going to step aside and I'm going to turn so that people know that I'm directing my energy that way. But now that we've started playing some of these theaters, they have video capability in the backdrop. So our thoughts were, how do we make the show even better by including video backdrops that may or may not relate to the song that's behind you, that you're playing? So we could be playing something, nice and pretty, and you'll have a nice backdrop of a rising moon, which just adds to the character of the song, right? And now you have another thing on stage that you can look at. So instead of looking at us, you might be looking at the backdrop, and you might be listening to the words to the song. Sometimes the images go along with the song. Sometimes they don't go along with the song, very specifically because we want that confusion sometimes to be overwhelming for people. We do one song, a Casey and the Sunshine Band song called Boogie Shoes. It's about people getting dressed up and going out to dance. Well, when that song comes on, all we have are different scenes of people dancing behind us. And that's the whole theme of the song. It is like, we're going to have a good time, we're going to dance, we're having a great time. And when you see that coupled with the song, it just puts you in a good mood. Everybody laughs. Everybody has a great time.
Right. And is the show, every time you guys play, is it the same, or do you mix it up? Because I know that there's a couple hundred songs in your catalog.
Yeah. So we mix them up. We have 2 different bands. We have a theater band, which will play more production numbers, meaning that we're going to show off our talent because you're paying money to come see us on a stage. So we may play, and we always play it in a dance environment as well. But for example, Billy Joel's Scenes from Italian Restaurant. That's a production. That's one of our biggest production numbers because not many bands can play that. And, oh, by the way, we have the keyboardist and we have the vocalist that can do these songs. And we have the horn section that can do these songs. So why wouldn't we do those songs? And we put video backdrop to that, and it just makes this unbelievable scene. Now, when we play a dance club, we still play that song, and people may not dance to it, but people still stop and listen because everybody knows that song, and they all sing along. And that's the other part of our band, is that if you're not dancing, you're singing. There's never a time that you're not doing something with the band. You are part of the show.
So every person that goes to see you guys leaves there and says, I got my money's worth.
Holy smokes. And I get to see from my side, when I'm playing, somebody plays a great sax solo, or the bass player plays a super bass solo, and I'm watching the people in the crowd sitting there just looking around at what's going on. And I'm not afraid when I'm taking a guitar solo to go right to the edge of the stage and looking right at people, and people react to that. They absolutely react to when you pay attention to them instead of just being the guy up on the stage with your head up. If you're smiling at them, if you're having a good time, if you make faces at them, they appreciate that and they get into it. And that's what gives us our pleasure when we play. We get paid, don't get me wrong, but we don't get paid to play. We get paid to move our gear. We play because we have the gift, and that's what we give.
Well, this is Mark Smith. The name of the band is Sold Out Show Band, and you can find them at SOSB.band. You can find out where they're playing, and you guys have an impressive EPK on there. People can see some videos and look at your catalog and so forth.
Absolutely. We have a YouTube channel as well that you can get to from our website. We have a Facebook page that you can get to from our website. We have a mailing list that you can sign up for on our website, and we send out a newsletter once a month to everybody that's subscribed that gives them a whole rundown as to what's going on in the band and where we're playing next so they can plan their schedules. And we've had instances where we have people as far away as Quebec, Canada, because when we play up in Old Orchard Beach, that is a wild vacation place for people that are traveling from Canada. And we have the same people scheduling their vacations as to when we're playing up there, so they come and see us year after year after year. And we've been playing up in there in different places for over 10 years.
I mean, that alone tells you something. People are spending their money
to
and
come.
their time around you.
And they will always come to you and say, hey, saw you last year. There was a great show. I mean, I got into a conversation with one person who came to me and said, you're one of my favorite guitar players. That's an unbelievably humbling experience, because I make no bones about the fact that I am not some of the other guys that are national touring acts, but I do what I do. I've accepted what I do. But for him to come and talk to me, and so we sat down in the club for 10 minutes and we just talked. And to me, that made my day, even though I was talking to him and he was having fun with me. And it's just, that's those kinds of things that happen. And I know there will be people that will come up to the front of the stage. You can tell they're musicians, or you can tell they're fans, because they stand there and they're not dancing. They're just
studying you.
So, I've seen some of our saxophone players just get off the stage and start talking to them. Wow. Right? Because the saxophone players will always gravitate over to those guys, or a guitar player will gravitate over to me, or a drummer will gravitate, and he'll be looking around everybody trying to see what we're doing. And that's part of the reward too, is because they want to know. They're hearing something that's making them react. So when I get off the stage and if there's a kid standing there and he's looking at my guitar, I take it off and I hand it to him. I say, try it.
Cool.
And that happens all the time. And I can't tell you how many kids at some of the fireworks shows that we've done, where there's high school kids in the audience, and they come over and they see you playing guitar, and they're looking at what you're using for gear and how do you get that sound. Oh, that was so cool. And I invite them up on our break and I say, here, try it, because that's how you're going to inspire the next set of guys that are going to play.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is you don't see that often. These young kids, you don't see them out playing music that often. And like when we were kids, everyone had a guitar or drums, or wanted to be a rock star or something.
Absolutely.
You don't see that, and you could make a difference in someone's life by inspiring them.
It absolutely is, and there are plenty of times that we connect with people who are going through a difficult time in their life, and they come to see us, if only for a couple of hours, to forget about everything that's going on. And it might be a song in our set that sets them off either into sorrow or into happiness. And that's the gift that we have, because everybody connects to the music. Everyone. I don't care who you are. You can be the most tone-deaf person in the world, and you're going to hear something that is going to bring back a memory, or it's going to bring some feelings of joy, or make you want to dance. And that's the reward for us.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing it a real long time, and I think part of your success is your energy and your love for it, because right now you're getting excited, and I love it.
I can't not get excited playing with these guys. I'm blessed and fortunate to play with them. We all have our different levels of musicianship, but when you put them all together, you get something that is completely above and beyond what other acts are. We're a Vegas level act, but we're in New Hampshire. So if you ever wanted to go to Vegas to see a review show, you could do that. You can get on a plane, you can fly, and you have to spend the money for the hotel and the tickets and all that. Or you can come see us and you'll get the same exact show, because we contribute anybody. You ask us to do this, we will do it. You ask us, we don't have the people in the band like the Doobie Brothers. We don't have those guys in the band, but we can do them, and we can play them note for note, or we can play them and sound even better because we put our own personalities into it. You want to hear Journey? We'll play Journey. But you haven't heard Journey until you heard Journey with horns in it. It's a completely different thing, but it's still great. You want to hear Elle King? Well, she's an artist that's out right now. She's got a number of hits, but you haven't heard Elle King with our girl singers. And, oh, by the way, we've got horns again. So there's a lot of songs that we do that we bring and make them modern, make them our own, but they still stay true to what you're listening to. You want to hear Tina Turner? Kristen, we were talking about Kristen. You want to hear? She will nail Tina Turner. And people are just dumbfounded when they hear her. But she does it, and she does it night after night consistently.
Wow, incredible.
She is.
I can see her pulling that off.
Yeah, and Melissa, she does Heart. She's like, you wouldn't expect that kind of voice to come out of her, but then all of a sudden it comes out of her, and it sounds great. She does a lot of backup harmonies with everybody that's going on, so that's a whole different dimension to what we do. We all sing backup harmonies, but having a second female backup harmony voice just makes it sound so much better.
Cool. And you guys play pretty much all over New England?
We do.
Right. So if someone wanted to book your band, how do they do
If
that?
they go to the website, sosb.band, there's a form there. You can either join the mailing list or you can email us directly. That will come to me directly, and then we can start a conversation as to how to book our band, where they want us to book us. There are some bookings we have to turn down because the place that they want us to play won't fit a 9-piece band in all of our gear. It's because it's a big band.
Right. So will you guys go as small as someone's wedding?
We do a lot of weddings. We've done a lot of weddings. In fact, we did one up at the pier in Portland, Maine, the departure pier for all of the cruise ships. There's a pier out there, and this one wedding couple rented the entire upstairs of that pier. It's a function hall now, and we were there. So we had the Atlantic Ocean as our backdrop. Wow. And there were 400 people in this, and they came in and they hung chandeliers. They did all kinds of stuff. So we play all kinds of weddings. We play birthday parties. We've played celebrations of life. We've done a lot of different kinds of events. We've done, like for JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. We've been asked back to do their show, their fundraising show, for a number of years. We've done a number of holiday parties for different companies. They hire us and they bring us on, and they provide rooms for us, and then we put on a show. But then there are times that people have hired us to play their backyard barbecue, and they throw 4x8 sheets of plywood down on the ground. It is as rickety as it can get, but it doesn't matter because you're still there to do a job and have some fun and let them have some fun. So it doesn't really matter where we're going to play. It's as long as we have 2 electrical circuits or 3 electrical circuits, hopefully, and we have a way to get our gear in.
Yeah, and you guys have played some pretty big places. You headlined the Tupelo not too long ago.
We headlined the Tupelo. The Tupelo, we are always going to be grateful to the Tupelo because they gave us, when COVID hit, they started a concert series out in their parking lot, right? And they had national acts come through, and you could drive into their parking lot, buy a ticket for your car full of people, and they had social distancing, all of this stuff, and you still got to see a show. Scott is a great guy, and he's forward-thinking. I just happened to email him one day. I saw him had a show the night before, and I had been emailing him back and forth, telling him about Sold Out, and we would love to open up for a national act in there, right? Well, it just so happened that he said, I've been looking for some talent like yours to have your own show. He said, would you be interested in doing that? And I was on the phone with people in the band within a minute of getting that email, and we booked that show. And because we played that show, other theaters became interested in seeing what we were doing. Wow. So I'll always be thankful to Scott for that. But the next show that's coming up, the big one is the Rex. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. We did it last year on Easter weekend, the 30th, March 30th, and now we're doing this one October 19th, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And that's in Manchester?
That's in Manchester, New Hampshire on Amherst Street.
And can they get the tickets on your site, or do they have to go to the Rex?
So you would go to our Facebook page, and we have an event on that you can then go and get tickets from, or you can go directly to the Rex Theater's website. They're owned by the Palace, so you'll see the Palace and the Rex, but you go to the Rex calendar and you go to October 19th and click on our name and you can get tickets there.
Awesome. Sounds good. Sounds good. Before we started recording, you and I were chatting and chatting. You would tell me how eclectic the group of people are that you are lucky enough to share the stage with, the different backgrounds that they come from. It's pretty interesting.
I think that's what brings the personality to the band, because the thing that brings us all together is the music. And sure, I'm going to like this type of music, and they're going to like this type of music, and she's going to like this type, and he's going to like this type of music. And we've got people that don't like any of the music. They just play because they want to play. But because of the fact that we have so many different things that are going on in our band, the first half hour of our rehearsal is spent catching up with everybody's lives. We've got a new mom, or basically her daughter's 4 years old, but she's still a new mom, right? So we hear all about the baby. Or we'll hear about, oh, this went on at work. I was doing an electrical inspection over here, or I had some kids in class and we were talking about this. We've got a couple of guys that are retired, so there's all different walks of life. And you just suddenly go, oh, we have to play. We're not here to have burgers and chit-chat. We need to play, and we need to learn our new songs. Right. So it's kind of fun when we're not a band, but it's a lot more fun when we are a band, because then it's all the cogs in the wheel line up, and they all go in one direction. There's never a train wreck, and that's what I like about the band.
Right. So you're more than a band. You're actually a family.
Yeah, we are. We're all friends. There will be times that somebody will say, oh, I'm going to go to this open mic, because we want to hone our skills. So we want to play with different people. And suddenly we'll find out that 4 of us are going to that same open mic. So the 4 of us will get up and we'll wind up doing a little mini sold out thing, but we'll play something else. Every one of us in the band has different interests where we play with other people. Marc Belanger, he sits in with a number of bands because he's a great saxophone player, and everybody needs a great saxophone player, so he gets called all the time. Jimmy will sit in with somebody playing saxophone. I have my own couple of duos that I do outside of the band. So everybody has different musical tastes. Chris plays in another band on the side. We all do little things to keep our musical chops up, but then when we come back together, it's like, okay, we're going to learn these 3 songs, and boom, we're going to do them. And we'll have maybe 1 rehearsal, maybe 2, but then they're in our rotation.
Yep. Do you have a favorite place to play, or a place that you want to play at?
So it depends on how you're asking. We like playing the theater shows, but the energy at a theater show is different, because you're not getting the instantaneous reaction of people dancing and having a good time. People are sitting there watching you, and so they're concentrating a little bit on what you're doing. So you get more tired at that show because you're the one that's expending energy, because those people are paying money to see you, and they deserve to be treated to a show. Whereas we play at a place like the Brunswick up at Old Orchard Beach, from the minute you start playing till the minute you stop playing, there are people dancing, there are people moving, there are people right in your face, there are people yelling, and it's that you don't have to expend as much energy for that, because they're going to react to anything that you do. So to say that there's a favorite place or a favorite couple of places, they're all good places to play, and it all depends on the night. If it's a snowy night and we're playing at the Dairy Field in Manchester, New Hampshire, we may have 50 people there. But they're there to play. They're there to dance. They're there to have a good time. Or we may play at the Tupelo, and we'll put 300 people in that theater. And that's a lot of people in that theater for a band like ours. And they'll get worked up. They'll get excited. They love to see the band, right? And we then put on a better show because we know that we have to put on a show. Because, people sitting at a table with their hands crossed and looking at you, they're not dancing. But after the first song, you can see them. They start swaying in their chairs. You can't help but move at one of our shows. And I told you this before we came on camera. If you're not moving at a sold-out show, go to the emergency room. You're probably dead.
And that is true.
It's absolutely true. There's no song that is a filler. Everything is either designed to dance, designed to make you move. You don't have to dance, but it's still going to make you move, or for you to sing along. And that's a big, big ticket, right? When you're playing and people are singing the words back to you, they know the song, and they're really, that's a charge that you cannot describe that at all.
Now, when you guys get up and play, you play a lot off of the energy of the crowd.
Sure.
So if the energy is going a different way than what you expect it to, do you change up what you have, like the set list?
Sure. We
Midstream?
call audibles all the time. All the time. We'll be playing something, we'll be looking at the set list, and because of the way you read the room and how they're reacting, they may not necessarily be dancing as much as you want them to. That happens sometimes. Yeah. So we'll look down at the set list and maybe we'll drop a couple songs and we'll move down the set list. Or we'll take something out of the library that we haven't played in a while and we'll just wing it and we'll just throw it out there and see what happens. That happens all the time. And that's why you have to be on your toes on stage, because when you're 9 people deep or wide and deep, communicating with everybody on stage to tell them, okay, we're going to play this song, we're going to play this song, we're going to play this song. Like if we play a slow song and there's a lot of people that are dancing to the slow song, well, maybe we'll play another one. We usually don't, but maybe we will. Or if we got a lot of people on the dance floor and we know that the next song on the list isn't exactly one to get people dancing right away, we'll put something that will capture them. And sorry, you're stuck on the dance floor, now you're dancing. And we don't care that you want to go sit down, you're going to dance.
Yeah. It probably keeps the excitement in it for you as the musician as well, because it changes every time.
Absolutely. And there are plenty of times when you're on a stage that you can get out into the crowd. We're all wireless. So the horn players will wander out into the audience and play to people. And people get a huge charge out of that. There'll be times that I'll go out and I'll be playing guitar solos to people. Or I'll see, somebody who's just having a great time, and I'll take my pick and I'll hand it to them and I'll hold the guitar out for them to do this. They don't know what to do, but the fact that you just included them in the show, they can't get over the fact that, oh my God, I can't believe you did that.
Right. Awesome. And they go home and they go, I got a drumstick.
And of course I have guitar picks that say Sold Out Show Band on it. So that, I throw them out in the audience. I've hit a couple of people in the head, and I won't take any blame for it, but they didn't catch them, but it's a lot of fun.
What a blast.
It is.
So you're watching and listening to Musicians and Beyond. Please make sure you go and follow us on all social media platforms. And we are with Marc Smith from Sold Out Show Band, and that's SOSB.band, and find out where they're going to be playing and check them out.
Let me tell you a funny story. Because we're called Sold Out Show Band, we were playing in Gloucester at Captain Carlo's the weekend of the feast, where they have the greasy pole and all that. And I was in a store. We were all set up. We were ready to go. But I heard people talking about, oh, we want to go see the band, but it's sold out. Because Captain Carlo's spelled the name on their marquee, SOLD, sold out, instead of SOULED, which is what our name is, sold out. It comes from a Tower of Power song, Sold Out. So we run into that all the time, and I have to go over and tell them, no, it's not. It's not sold out. Trust me, come. You're going to have a great time. And I remember that gig because it poured. We started to play, and we were outside on a deck. We were under the cover, but the people that were on the deck were not undercover, and it started to rain, and they stayed the entire night. It was amazing to see people that were so excited to hear good music and dance. and they were having a good time, and the owner came up to us while we were just about to take a break. He's like, don't take a break, because as soon as you do, they'll all leave. So we played 2.5 hours straight through, and they all stayed.
Yeah, what a fun event that is, that whole
That was
Gloucester thing.
awesome.
Did you do the greasy pole?
I didn't do the greasy pole.
Those people get
no, because I have a
killed.
responsibility. I have to play at the show, so I don't want to injure
You seen
myself.
some of those people?
They're crazy, but
they are
you know what?
crazy.
They're having fun, and we go to Gloucester as much as we can. I personally go there. The band goes there when we can, and it's all about the camaraderie of everybody there and having a great time, and it all translates to, if you can play a show at one of these festivals, there's no way you're not going to have a good crowd, because they're all there to have fun and enjoy each other's company.
Right. So you guys are doing incredible as you are, but where in about 5 or 10 years do you see the band?
That's tough, because the music industry is changing. There's not as many concerts and shows, theater type shows, the bigger venues, right? We would love to play some of the bigger places. Like, we would love to play the Palace, which is a 700-seat theater, or like our friend Francois is playing at the Cabot, and I know a number of the board members at the Cabot. R.L. Marino, he's one of my best friends. I would love to play at the Cabot. I've done video there. I've done sound there a dozen times. I would love for the band to play there. The shows are changing because the people who buy the tickets don't want to be out later than 10 o'clock. So guys, our age, we certainly go out, we do the things, we have fun, but there are plenty of times that we're looking at our watch saying, oh, you know what, it's 10 o'clock. I want to be at home with my slippers on.
That's me.
Yeah, absolutely.
8 o'clock.
Absolutely, right? And the younger kids don't necessarily listen to bands, because they're not exposed to them as much as we were when we were kids, because you used to wait for an album to come out, and then you would go buy it and you would listen to it, or you'd listen to the radio with a tape recorder to record the song off of the radio, and it was an event. Now you can download music whenever you want, you can stream it whenever you want. So they'll get 5 people in their house and they'll just stream stuff on Spotify. And there's nothing wrong with getting your music out like that, but it doesn't promote going to see somebody live. That's not the way the show circuit is going. So I can see that, the number of shows that we do coming up over the next few years is going to dwindle, only because of the fact that the venues that support an act our size are going to start seeing their crowds not be there at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night. They're going to see them moving backwards in time and being there and only until 9 o'clock and then going home. Well, you can have a band like us that you want us to play from 2 to 7. Sure, we'll do that. Why wouldn't we? Next year, I already have like 6 dates in our book for the Brunswick up in Old Orchard Beach, and we're playing 11 o'clock shows. Well, we're showing up at 11, we play at 1 rather. And we play from 1 to 5. Now, they do that out of courtesy for us because we're traveling a great distance, so we don't have to get a hotel room and stay there. But, they have local bands that don't have to travel very far, play the nighttime shows, and we play the daytime shows. Whether that'll change in a beach community, I don't see that changing. But some of the interior clubs, it may change a little bit, and that's the hard thing to guess.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you say about the music industry, how it's changed. Mm-hmm. I mean, for a musician that puts so much time, effort, money, everything into it, they really don't get the reward that they deserve, because like you said, anyone can go on the computer and just download or share it with their friend, and the artist, doesn't get the benefit from it.
And there's a cutting-edge sword, right? There's 2 edges. You can produce music, or you can produce music for consumption. So if I write songs for me. I write songs that speak to me, and if people enjoy them, then I get to share them with them. But if the second I start to write songs or I start to play songs because I think that's what you want to hear, there's a little bit of that, but you're going to be unsuccessful if you try to do that all the time. Sold Out, we play music that we love to play. We play music that we love to dance to. We play music that we love to sing along to. And we just happen to be lucky enough, knock on wood, that other people enjoy what we're doing. That's a great thing. Would I love to bring some original material into the band? Sure. Would we like to do some other stuff that isn't necessarily dance music that we really like to play, like some of the deeper cuts in Tower of Power or Blood, Sweat, and Tears, big horn bands of the 70s and 80s? Sure, we would love to do that, but that may not be recognized by some of the people in the audience, and that's a quick way to lose your people. So you have to play what the people are going to react to and want to hear and want to dance to and have fun with. So that's the double-edged sword where, I'm playing music for them to a point, but I'm playing music for me. Like, if I have to play Mustang Sally, and you'll hear every musician in the world say, I would never play that song. You know what? I'll play that song 10 times a night if you want me to, because I'm there for you. You paid money to see me. I'll play that song, but I'll play it different every single time because that's what's going to make it interesting for me. Am I going to play it like a polka? I don't know. Am I going to play it like, a really heavy rock song? Sure. I'll do it a number of different ways. I'll do it with solos. I'll do it without solos. I'll change the words. I'll do different things to make you laugh and have fun. Sometimes I won't even play all the verses or all the choruses because you're not going to register that I didn't play everything. You're just going to register that I played that song. And I've been in that situation where somebody's challenged me and a couple of friends from Sold Out. We did a little mini show, and we're playing, and he said, I bet you can't play this song. And we asked him, how much? How much you going to bet? He said, $20. He didn't know the name of the song, didn't know who it was by. He said, it's that song, What Would You? And he started to sing it, and we knew what song he wanted, and we started to play it. So we lost $20.
Quickest $20 he ever made.
He lost $300 that day because he tried to stump the band. And it was a little unfair because you're talking to 3 seasoned professionals that have played everything under the sun. But the fact is that he was having a good time listening to all of this and trying to stump the band. And we do that all the time. Yell something out. We'll play it. Why
Awesome.
not?
That's great. So anyone that can stay up past 8 o'clock start time, make sure you go out and check out Sold Out Show Band, and you're not going to be disappointed. Great stage show, true professionals, 9-piece band, just absolutely good. And Mark Smith was nice enough to cruise all the way down here. We've been trying to get this going for quite a while, and finally we did. And so check out the Sold Out Show Band. And Mark, we want to thank you. We've been friends for a long time, and I'm grateful for our friendship. So thank you again for being my friend.
Hey, thanks for doing what you do, Cap. I appreciate it, and it was my pleasure to come down here. I'm flattered that you had me in.
Great, and I also got to give a shout out to Dave, Maeve, and Dane for all the behind the scenes, making all this come
absolutely
home to you. So thank you guys.
Crew, absolutely.